My name is Blythe, and I'm 29 years old. A month ago, I sat in a lawyer's office and listened to a stranger read out loud that my parents were leaving me nothing. The estate I had quietly paid for month after month for 7 years was going to my sister. Every bill, every pill, every cent of the healthcare my money had kept over my mom and dad's heads. My mom held my hand while the lawyer read it. She smiled at me the whole time. So, I did something quiet, something nobody in my family noticed for 1 entire month. And when my mom finally texted me about the clinic, my reply took 10 seconds to type and cost them everything they thought they couldn't live without. What happened after that tore my family down to the studs. But here's what none of them knew. I candid every policy. Grab your coffee and settle in and tell me in the omits where you're listening from today. The room is quiet, filled with the sharp smell of polished cherry wood and old legal books. We are sitting around a massive conference table. It is a formal family meeting, but to my parents and sister, it is a celebration of greed. My name is Blythe. I am 29 years old. I am the director of risk operations at a premier healthcare asset firm. For 7 long years, I have quietly carried the entire financial weight of my family. My parents, Thatcher and Cordelia, live in a 4-bedroom suburban house. Thatcher retired early with 0 savings, and Cordelia spent decades living beyond her means. When their health began to decline, they had no money for private medical care. Because I had a high-paying corporate salary, I stepped in. I quietly paid their monthly health insurance premiums, covered their prescription costs, and paid the property taxes on the family home so they would never be forced to sell it. I never bragged about it. I never demanded praise. I simply thought I was taking care of my family. Sitting across from me is my younger sister, Fallon. Fallon is 25 years old, entitled, and completely selfish. She has never held a steady job. She spends her days filming social media videos, shopping with credit cards our parents cannot afford, and manipulating everyone around her. She has always been the golden child, while I was treated like an unpaid servant. The family attorney, Mr. Vance, clears his throat and opens a thick manila folder. He adjusts his reading glasses and looks around the table. We are here today to formalize the living trust and deed transfer for Thatcher and Cordelia, Mr. Vance says, his voice flat and professional. As requested by the grantors, the family residence, valued at $650,000, along with all internal personal property, is being officially transferred into a sole irrevocable trust. Fallon leans forward, her eyes glittering with excitement. She can barely hide her greedy smile. The sole beneficiary named on the real estate deed is Fallon, Mr. Vance reads from the document. Upon the passing of the grantors, full ownership and physical possession of the property will transfer directly to Fallon, free and clear of all family claims. Mr. Vance pauses, turning the page. To Blythe, the grantors leave no real estate, no financial trust allocations, and no personal property. The conference room goes completely quiet, except for the rain hitting the glass. I do not gasp. I do not shed a single tear. I sit perfectly straight in my tailored dark blazer, my hands resting calmly on the table. My mother, Cordelia, looks at me with a cold, triumphant expression. She reaches out and pats Fallon's hand. Don't look so bitter, Blythe, Cordelia says smoothly, her voice dripping with condescension. Fallon is fragile. She needs a secure foundation to build her lifestyle. You have a big corporate job and a high salary. You can buy your own house. You've always been tough and independent. You don't need our help, and quite frankly, you're selfish for expecting anything. Fallon lets out a smug giggle. Thanks, Mom. I'm already planning to redecorate the entire master bedroom. Blythe can stay in her little rental apartment. My father, Thatcher, nods in agreement, completely unbothered by the fact that they have left their oldest daughter with absolute zero. In trust and estate planning, a grantor has the legal right to distribute their real estate assets to any designated beneficiary. However, when an adult child voluntarily pays external living costs, property taxes, and health coverage for their parents without a formal written contract, those payments are legally classified as gratuitous unilateral gifts. The benefactor holds zero legal claim to the parent's physical real estate, unless a recorded lien exists. But an unwritten gift also means the benefactor has zero legal obligation to continue paying a single dime toward the parent's future expenses. The financial valve can be shut off instantly. I look at my mother's smug face. I look at Fallon's arrogant grin. They truly believe they have won. They think they can strip away my inheritance, hand everything to the golden child, and expect me to continue quietly funding their lives from the shadows. I slowly pick up my black leather handbag and stand up from the conference table. I understand completely, I say. my voice perfectly calm and devoid of all emotion. "Congratulations on the house, Fallon." I turn and walk out of the conference room without looking back. I step into the elevator, take out my corporate smartphone, and open our firm's private benefits portal. I navigate directly to the automated family policy billing system. The monthly premium for my parents' comprehensive private health insurance policy is $2,800. It covers Thatcher's heart medications, Cordelia's specialized arthritis treatments, and full emergency surgical protection. With a single tap of my thumb, I select immediate cancellation. The policy is officially terminated. They wanted to leave me with nothing. Now they are about to see exactly how much it costs to survive without me. The elevator doors slide shut, perfectly sealing off the heavy, suffocating atmosphere of the attorney's office. I step out into the cold, rainy city streets and walk toward my car. I do not feel betrayed. I do not feel heartbroken. I feel a profound, incredible sense of relief. For 7 years, I allowed my parents to treat me like an endless ATM. I paid $2,800 every single month to maintain a premium, top-tier healthcare policy for them. I paid their copays. I covered my father's expensive heart medications and my mother's luxury arthritis infusions. I did it because I believed in family loyalty. But loyalty is a two-way street, and today, they permanently paved over it. By naming Fallon as the sole beneficiary of the $650,000 estate, they made their choice. They chose the golden child, and in doing so, they completely released me from my financial obligations. The next morning, I sit at my sleek glass desk at the healthcare asset firm. I log into my private banking portal. For the first time in nearly a decade, my monthly salary remains entirely mine. I transfer the $2,800 directly into my high-yield investment account. The financial pipeline to Thatcher and Cordelia is officially legally closed. I do not send them a warning text. I do not call to argue. I simply wait for the brutal reality of the American healthcare system to catch up with them. Exactly 4 weeks pass in absolute silence. My parents do not call me to ask how I am doing. Fallon does not text me, except to post a dozen photos on social media showing off the expensive furniture she bought for her newly inherited master bedroom using her credit cards. They are living in a bubble of absolute arrogance, completely unaware that the safety net beneath them has vanished. But in the medical billing industry, the truth always comes out at the point of service. It is a Tuesday afternoon. I am sitting in my corner office, reviewing a complex medical liability portfolio. My private cell phone vibrates sharply on the glass desk. I look at the glowing screen. It is a frantic text message from my mother, Cordelia. "Blythe, call me right now. I am at the private clinic for my arthritis infusion and the receptionist is being incredibly rude. She claims my insurance policy is inactive. Fix the billing error immediately. The hospital bill is due today, and they want $8,000 up front." I read the message twice. The sheer, blinding entitlement of her words is almost funny. She just signed away a massive estate to my sister, leaving me with absolute zero. Yet she still expects me to act as her personal financial secretary the moment she experiences a minor inconvenience. In the private healthcare sector, specialized treatments such as biologic joint infusions require active policy verification prior to administration. When a primary policyholder voluntarily terminates a dependent plan, the insurance carrier issues a formal termination notice and immediately ceases all financial liability. Any subsequent medical services become the absolute financial responsibility of the patient under a strict self-pay guarantor agreement. The medical clinic has the absolute legal right to refuse any non-emergency elective treatments until the massive out-of-pocket balance is paid in full with certified funds. I pick up my cell phone. I do not call her. I do not offer any emotional comfort. I simply type a brief, factual response. "There is no billing error, Cordelia," I reply. "I canceled the insurance policy the moment you signed the house over. I am no longer funding your lifestyle. The hospital bill is due. Ask your favorite daughter to pay it." I press send. I set the phone down and take a slow, peaceful sip of my black coffee. Less than 30 seconds later, my phone begins to ring frantically. The caller ID flashes with Cordelia's name. I let it ring. It stops, and then it immediately starts ringing again. She is panicking. She is standing in the middle of a luxury medical clinic, surrounded by wealthy patients, being told that she is essentially uninsured and broke. She sends another text message, the letters typed in all capital letters. "You cannot do this. I need my treatment. Fallon does not have $8,000. Turn the policy back on right now." I do not reply. I silence my phone and turn my attention back to my corporate spreadsheets. They thought they could give everything to Fallon and keep me on a leash. But the leash is cut. And without my money, they are about to discover that a house you cannot afford to maintain is not a gift. It is a prison. The afternoon sun begins to set, casting long, sharp shadows across my corner office. My cell phone finally stops ringing. Cordelia has given up. I imagine her storming out of the luxury medical clinic, furious and humiliated, forced to skip her expensive arthritis infusion because she could not produce $8,000 in cash. I pack up my laptop and drive back to my quiet, peaceful apartment. For the first time in 7 years, I do not have to review my parents' medical bills. I do not have to balance my budget around their exorbitant healthcare costs. My money belongs entirely to me. But a toxic family does not surrender after one failed phone call. When the mother fails to manipulate the scapegoat, she sends the father. At exactly 7 p.m., my phone lights up again. It is my father, Thatcher. I decide to answer. I tap the screen and place the phone on the kitchen counter, putting him on speaker. Blythe, this has gone far enough. Thatcher's voice booms through the speaker. He is trying to sound authoritative, using the strict, demanding tone he used when I was a teenager. Your mother came home in tears. She missed her treatment. And I just went to the retail pharmacy to pick up my monthly heart medication, and the pharmacist told me the policy was terminated. They want $1,200 for a 30-day supply. You need to call the insurance broker and reinstate the policy right now. I lean against the granite counter and cross my arms. He is not asking for a favor. He is issuing a command, completely blind to the fact that he has zero authority over my bank account. I am not reinstating the policy, Thatcher. I state calmly. I canceled it permanently. The medical insurance was a gift. It was a courtesy that I paid for out of my own pocket. You and Cordelia decided to leave your entire $650,000 estate to Fallon. You made your financial choice. I made mine. We are your parents. Thatcher shouts, his voice cracking with panic and anger. You cannot just cut off my heart medication. I need those pills to survive. You make a massive corporate salary, Blythe. $1,200 is nothing to you. You are being incredibly petty and vindictive over a house. In the retail pharmaceutical industry, when a comprehensive health insurance policy is terminated, the patient immediately loses access to negotiated network discounts and pharmacy benefit manager subsidies. The patient is instantly converted to a strict cash pay status. For specialized, brand-name cardiac medications, the retail price can easily exceed $1,000 per month. If the patient cannot produce the full cash amount at the pharmacy counter, the pharmacist is legally prohibited from dispensing the medication. The financial burden shifts entirely to the patient's personal assets. $1,200 is a lot of money to me, Thatcher, I reply, my voice perfectly flat and devoid of any sympathy. And I am not being vindictive. I am being logical. You do not have medical insurance. You need cash to survive. I am on a fixed retirement income, Thatcher yells, his frustration echoing loudly in my quiet kitchen. I do not have $1,200 for pills and $8,000 for your mother's infusions. How are we supposed to pay for this? That is a very simple problem to solve, I explain coldly, delivering the exact reality he refuses to see. You just gave a $650,000 asset to Fallon. Since she is now the sole beneficiary of your living trust, and you clearly trust her with your financial legacy, she can provide for you. Tell Fallon to get a job. Or better yet, tell Fallon to take out a high-interest personal loan to pay for your medical bills. Fallon doesn't have a corporate job, Thatcher stammers, the reality of the situation finally beginning to crush his arrogance. She is just a social media influencer. She is busy. She can't afford to pay thousands of dollars every single month. Then I suggest you stop calling me and start figuring out how to budget your fixed income, I say smoothly, because I am never paying another medical bill for you again. I disconnect the call. I do not feel an ounce of guilt. They thought they could hand their entire fortune to my sister while treating me like an automated bank account. They failed to realize that the bank is now closed forever. But desperate people do not learn their lesson quickly. Tomorrow Fallon is going to realize that her golden inheritance is not a free ride. She is going to find out what it actually costs to own a house. The rest of the week passes in quiet, calculated efficiency. My parents have finally stopped calling me. The brutal reality of paying thousands of dollars out of pocket for their daily medications has forced them into absolute financial panic. They are draining whatever tiny amount of cash they had left in their checking accounts just to survive the month. But the real crisis has not even begun. They are so focused on their medical bills that they have completely forgotten about the massive suburban house they just signed over to Fallon. It is 10 a.m. on a Saturday. I am sitting in a plush leather armchair in my local coffee shop, enjoying an expensive latte. I am not at the office, but my corporate mind is always working. I know the exact schedule of my parents' financial obligations because I am the one who managed them for 7 years. Every quarter, the county issues a massive property tax bill for the $650,000 estate. For the last 7 years, I quietly paid the $3,000 quarterly tax installment online, so my parents would not lose their home to the government. That bill is due today, and I have already removed my credit card from the county portal. My cell phone lights up with a text message. It is from Fallon. Blythe, answer your phone right now. Mom is freaking out and Dad is screaming at me. I need you to fix this. I take a slow sip of my latte. The golden child is finally experiencing the crushing weight of real adulthood. I decide to call her back. What is the problem, Fallon? I ask smoothly, keeping my voice perfectly calm. The county just sent a massive envelope in the mail. Fallon shrieks into the phone. She sounds completely hysterical. It's a property tax bill for $3,000, and there's a bright red stamp on it that says past due, immediate action required. Dad said you always handle the taxes. Why didn't you pay it? I did not pay it because I do not own the house, Fallon. I state factually. You do. I don't have $3,000. She screams, her voice cracking in pure panic. I just spent all my credit cards redecorating the master bedroom. You have the money, Blythe. You have to log into the portal and pay this right now before they charge us late fees. In real estate law, when a physical property is formally transferred into an irrevocable trust with a designated adult beneficiary, the legal and financial liability for all property taxes, maintenance costs, and municipal assessments instantly transfers to the new legal entity. If the designated beneficiary fails to pay the quarterly property taxes, the county government does not care about family drama. The county will immediately levy massive financial penalties, attach a tax lien directly to the physical deed, and eventually initiate a forced government foreclosure to seize the asset and auction it off to recover the unpaid debt. I am not paying a single dime toward that house, Fallon. I reply coldly, delivering the exact reality she refuses to accept. Mr. Vance read the trust documents very clearly in the conference room. You are the sole beneficiary. You own the estate. Therefore, you are legally responsible for the property taxes. Welcome to homeownership. But I don't have a real job, Fallon wails, completely abandoning her arrogant, smug persona from the attorney's office. I can't afford a $3,000 tax bill every 3 months. Dad's retirement check barely covers his groceries now that he has to pay for his heart pills in cash. If we don't pay this tax bill, the county will put a lien on the house. That sounds like a very serious problem for the homeowner, I say smoothly. You should probably get a job. You are so selfish, she shrieks, resorting to her classic toxic manipulation. You are going to let our parents lose their home over petty jealousy. They did not lose their home, I correct her firmly. They gave their home to you. If the county seizes the property because you cannot afford the taxes, that is your failure, Fallon, not mine. I hang up the phone. I take another sip of my latte. Fallon is trapped. She has no steady income. She is maxed out on credit cards. And the county government does not accept social media followers as payment. She is going to have to find $3,000 immediately, or the house she fought so hard to steal from me will be the very thing that destroys her. But a tax lien is only the beginning of a homeowner's nightmare. Because when you cannot afford to maintain a massive property, the house itself starts to break down. 2 weeks pass. The illusion of my family's wealth is crumbling rapidly. Fallon scraped together the $3,000 property tax bill by taking out a high-interest payday loan. She thought she survived the storm. She thought she could just go back to filming videos in her newly decorated master bedroom. But a 30-year-old suburban house is a ticking financial time bomb. Without my money to pay for preventative maintenance, it was only a matter of time before the house turned against them. It is Wednesday afternoon. I am sitting in my corner office, reviewing a corporate risk assessment. My desk phone rings. It is not my private cell phone. They are calling my direct corporate office line. This means they are truly desperate. I press the speaker button. This is Blythe, I say smoothly. Blythe, thank God. It is my father, Thatcher. His voice is shaking, echoing over the sound of rushing water and loud screaming in the background. We have a massive emergency. The main plumbing line in the ceiling above the master bedroom just completely ruptured. The ceiling collapsed. Hundreds of gallons of water are pouring directly onto Fallon's brand new luxury furniture. I do not gasp. I calmly look at my screen. That sounds like a severe plumbing failure, Thatcher. Have you turned off the main water valve? The fire department just turned it off, Thatcher yells. But the entire first floor is flooded. There is an emergency restoration crew standing in our kitchen. They need to start extracting the water immediately to prevent black mold. But they are demanding a $5,000 emergency deposit up front. Fallon's credit cards are maxed out. I need your credit card number right now. I am not paying for a plumber, Thatcher, I reply, my voice perfectly flat. Tell Fallon to call the homeowner's insurance company and file an emergency claim. She did, Thatcher screams, sheer panic tearing his voice apart. The insurance agent just told us the claim is completely denied. They said the policy is void. Blythe, you have to help us. They are packing up their trucks. If they leave, the house will be destroyed. In property and casualty insurance law, when a real estate deed is formally transferred to a new legal owner or into an irrevocable trust, the previous homeowner's insurance policy becomes legally void. Insurance contracts are non-transferable. The new legal owner must immediately secure a brand new property insurance policy under their own name. If a catastrophic property failure occurs before the new policy is officially activated, the insurance carrier will instantly deny the claim due to lack of insurable interest. The new owner is absolutely responsible for 100% of the repair and restoration costs. The insurance agent is absolutely correct, Thatcher, I explain coldly. When you and Cordelia signed the deed over to Fallon at the attorney's office, your old insurance policy became void. Fallon is the new legal owner. She was legally required to purchase a new property insurance policy in her own name. Did she do that? The line goes completely silent, save for the sound of Fallon sobbing hysterically in the background. She spent all her available credit on expensive furniture. She completely ignored the invisible costs of homeownership like property insurance. No, Thatcher whispers. The crushing reality is suffocating him. She didn't buy a policy. She didn't know she had to. Ignorance is not a valid legal defense, I state factually. The restoration crew is going to leave. The standing water is going to soak into the hardwood floors, the drywall, and the foundation. Within 72 hours, toxic black mold will begin to grow. The house will become entirely uninhabitable. You cannot let this happen, Thatcher begs, completely abandoning his pride. Please, Blythe, just pay the $5,000. It is the family home. It was the family home, I correct him smoothly, delivering the final, brutal truth. Now it is just a rotting, uninsured building owned by a sister who hates me. I suggest you go buy a mop. I press the red button on my desk phone, instantly terminating the call. I sit back in my leather chair and enjoy the absolute silence of my office. Fallon wanted the house. Now she is going to watch her kingdom drown. But a flooded house is only the beginning of a legal nightmare. When a property becomes a biohazard, the local government gets involved. The heavy summer heat has settled over the city, but my office remains perfectly air-conditioned. It has been 3 weeks since the catastrophic plumbing failure at my parents' house. 3 weeks since I refused to pay the emergency restoration deposit. 3 weeks of standing water soaking deeply into the expensive hardwood floors, the drywall, and the structural foundation of the property. I am sitting at my sleek glass desk, reviewing a corporate risk compliance report. My private cell phone lights up with a notification from a local real estate monitoring app. Because I used to pay the property taxes, my email is still registered for municipal alerts regarding the property address. I click the notification. A digital copy of a formal municipal citation appears on my glowing screen. It is from the city's Department of Code Enforcement. I lean back in my leather chair and smile. The inevitable consequence of Fallon's financial ignorance has finally arrived. When you cannot afford to fix a major water disaster, the problem does not disappear. The standing water has spawned massive colonies of toxic black mold. The house is no longer just damaged. It is legally classified as a severe biohazard. Exactly 10 minutes later, my desk phone rings. It is Thatcher again. The desperation in his voice has morphed into absolute hollow defeat. Blythe, my father whispers through the speaker. He sounds like a completely broken man. There are government inspectors standing on our front lawn. They are wearing white hazmat suits and specialized breathing masks. They just nailed a massive red plastic sign directly to our front door. I look at the digital citation on my screen. I already know exactly what the bright red sign says. It is an official condemnation notice, Thatcher. I state factually, my voice perfectly calm and devoid of emotion. The city inspectors have formally declared the property unfit for human habitation. The structural integrity is severely compromised, and the airborne mold spore count is a direct threat to public health. They are kicking us out, Thatcher cries, his voice cracking with sheer panic. They told us we have exactly 2 hours to pack whatever uninfected clothes we can fit into our car, and then we have to vacate the premises permanently. The police are standing on the sidewalk to enforce the eviction. Blythe, where are we supposed to go? In municipal real estate law, when a residential property suffers catastrophic, unmitigated water damage resulting in toxic mold proliferation, the local health department will immediately intervene. The city will issue an official red tag condemnation order. This is a mandatory, legally enforced eviction. Furthermore, the legal owner is hit with massive daily municipal fines until the biohazard is completely eradicated by a licensed remediation company. If the owner cannot afford the remediation, the city will eventually demolish the structure at the owner's expense. You should ask Fallon where you are going to go, I reply smoothly. She is the sole beneficiary and the legal owner. It is her absolute responsibility to provide safe housing for the family now. Fallon is having a complete nervous breakdown on the lawn, Thatcher yells, the chaotic sounds of my mother crying filtering through the phone. The city inspector just handed her a citation. They are fining her $500 a day until the mold is professionally removed. The remediation estimate is $40,000. She doesn't have $40,000. That is a very unfortunate reality for a homeowner without insurance, I explain coldly. She wanted the massive estate. She wanted to be the golden child. Now she gets to experience the crushing liabilities that come with it. Blythe, please, Thatcher begs, completely abandoning his pride. We are homeless. Your mother and I have nowhere to sleep tonight. We cannot afford a hotel. Please, just let us stay in your apartment for a few weeks until we figure this out. My apartment building has very strict security protocols, Thatcher, I say, my voice dropping into a dangerous whisper. And I do not accept uninvited guests, especially not the people who gave my inheritance away and expected me to keep paying their bills. I press the red button, immediately disconnecting the call. The golden child is officially homeless, but the financial destruction is still not over. 4 days have passed since the city inspectors nailed the bright red condemnation sign to the front door of the family estate. The heavy summer rain has returned, washing over the city streets. I am sitting in my quiet, climate-controlled corner office. I have a large digital monitor, dedicated entirely to tracking public municipal records. I watch with absolute calm as the city officially files a municipal lien against Fallon's property. The daily fines for the toxic biohazard have already reached $3,000, and the city is aggressively securing its debt directly against the physical deed. My family is currently crammed into a single dirty room at a cheap roadside motel near the highway. They are paying by the night using whatever tiny cash reserves my father had left. My mother, Cordelia, has missed 2 of her expensive arthritis infusions. She is in pain, angry, and completely stripped of her wealthy suburban illusion. Fallon, the golden child, is trapped in a tiny room with 2 furious, sick parents who are finally realizing that she is entirely useless in a crisis. At exactly 1:15 p.m., the silver intercom on my glass desk chimes softly. Blythe, the front desk receptionist says, her voice tight with professional concern. Your mother and your sister are in the main lobby. They are causing a significant disturbance, demanding to speak with you regarding a real estate transaction. Should I call building security? No, I reply smoothly. I will come down and handle it. Keep security on standby. I straighten my tailored blazer, leave my office, and take the private executive elevator down to the ground floor. When the silver doors open into the sprawling marble-floored lobby, I see them. Cordelia and Fallon look completely unrecognizable. Cordelia's hair is frizzy, and she is wearing a wrinkled sweater. Fallon is wearing dirty sweatpants, clutching a thick manila folder. They look exhausted, defeated, and desperate. But as soon as Fallon sees me, she attempts to force a fake, arrogant smile. She still thinks she holds some kind of leverage. I stop 3 feet away from them, maintaining a strict professional boundary. You have exactly 2 minutes before I have you removed for trespassing, I state coldly. Speak. Fallon steps forward and shoves the manila folder toward me. I am here to offer you a massive opportunity, Blythe. I talked to Mom and Dad, and we decided to be generous. I am willing to sell you the family estate. I know you always wanted it. I will sell you the deed right now for $300,000 cash. You can pay for the mold remediation yourself, and everyone wins. We get the money we need, and you get the house. She actually thinks she is doing me a favor. She thinks I am stupid enough to buy a toxic liability just because of childhood nostalgia. In commercial and residential real estate law, a property that has been formally condemned and red-tagged by the city health department becomes virtually unsellable on the open market. Traditional banks will completely refuse to issue a mortgage for a biohazard. Furthermore, any active municipal liens for daily fines remain legally attached to the deed, meaning any potential buyer would instantly inherit the massive government debt. The only buyers for condemned properties are predatory cash investors, and they only pay a tiny fraction of the raw land value, often demanding the seller cover the demolition costs. I do not take the folder. I let out a short, cold laugh that echoes loudly across the marble lobby. You are not offering me an opportunity, Fallon, I reply, my voice perfectly flat. You are trying to dump a massive, toxic financial liability onto my bank account because you are drowning. It is a $650,000 house. Cordelia snaps, her voice cracking with pain and desperation. $300,000 is a massive discount. You have the cash in your investment accounts, Blythe. Buy the house so we can get out of that disgusting motel and pay for my medical treatments. The house is worthless, Cordelia, I state factually, delivering the brutal reality they refuse to accept. It is a condemned biohazard. The internal structure is completely rotting. The city has already attached a municipal lien to the deed for the unpaid daily fines. The estimated cost for toxic mold remediation and structural rebuilding is over $200,000. Fallon's fake smile completely vanishes. The manila folder trembles in her hands. I pulled the raw land valuation this morning, I continue smoothly, ensuring they understand the absolute finality of their situation. Even if you demolish the entire house and sell the empty dirt lot, the land is only worth $80,000. You owe the city more than that in liens and demolition fees. You do not have a $300,000 asset to sell, Fallon. You have a negative asset. The estate is completely bankrupt. That is impossible, Fallon shrieks, tears of sheer panic welling in her eyes. Mr. Vance said I was inheriting a fortune. I am the sole beneficiary. I own a massive estate. You own a pile of toxic mold, I correct her coldly. And you cannot sell it to me. You cannot sell it to anyone. I turn my back on them and walk toward the elevator. The golden child's inheritance is officially a worthless trap. But desperate people will always look for someone else to blame, and I know exactly who they will turn on next. The marble lobby is quiet again. I step back into the executive elevator and press the button for the 40th floor. I do not feel an ounce of pity. When a family builds its entire existence on financial exploitation and favoritism, the collapse is always spectacular. I return to my desk and resume my work. Over the next week, the pressure inside the cheap motel room reaches a breaking point. My parents are completely out of cash. The daily municipal fines on the condemned property continue to accumulate, driving the estate deeper into negative equity. Fallon is officially a bankrupt homeowner with no job and a destroyed credit score. And when toxic people are trapped in a corner with no money, they inevitably turn on each other. It is a Friday evening. I am in my kitchen, preparing a quiet dinner. My private cell phone rings. It is Thatcher. I answer and put him on speaker. Blythe, Thatcher says. His voice is different today. The demanding, authoritative tone is completely gone, replaced by a cold, calculating exhaustion. I need your professional advice regarding trust law. I pause. He is not asking for a bailout. He is asking for legal ammunition. I am listening, Thatcher, I reply smoothly. Your mother and I met with Mr. Vance, our estate attorney, this afternoon, Thatcher explains, his voice dropping into a quiet, serious tone. We have been living in a motel for 3 weeks. Fallon refuses to get a job. She spends all day crying and blaming us for giving her a house she couldn't afford. Cordelia is incredibly sick, and we have absolutely no money left. That is the reality of your choices, I remind him coldly. I know, Thatcher admits, the heavy weight of his failure finally breaking his pride. But Mr. Vance reviewed the irrevocable trust document. He found a specific legal clause regarding the transfer of the estate. I lean against the granite counter. I know exactly what clause he is talking about. In estate planning, when an aging parent transfers real property into an irrevocable trust with a designated adult beneficiary, attorneys often include a constructive care clause or an implied support covenant. This legal provision stipulates that the beneficiary receives the massive financial asset with the explicit expectation that they will provide essential care, housing, and financial support for the elderly grantors if they become destitute. If the beneficiary completely fails to provide this support, the grantors can file a formal civil lawsuit to forcefully revoke the trust and reclaim the asset based on breach of fiduciary duty. Mr. Vance informed us about the constructive care clause, Thatcher continues, his voice hardening with newfound resolve. He said that because we are currently destitute and homeless, and Fallon has completely failed to provide housing or financial support, we have grounds to sue her. We can petition the court to dissolve the trust, strip the deed from her name, and take the property back. I let out a slow, dark chuckle. The golden child is about to be sued by the very parents who gave her everything. That is a standard legal maneuver, Thatcher, I confirmed smoothly. But why are you calling me? What advice do you need? I need to know if it is worth it, Thatcher asks desperately. If we sue her and take the deed back, can we sell the property to a commercial developer? Can we use the money to pay for our medical bills and get out of this motel? I take a deep breath. I am about to deliver the final, crushing blow to his hope. No, Thatcher, I state factually. You cannot sell it. You cannot save yourself. If you sue Fallon and take the deed back, you are not just taking back the physical land. You are legally reclaiming all the debts attached to the deed. The phone line goes dead silent. The city has been fining Fallon $500 every single day for the biohazard, I explain coldly. The municipal liens currently attached to that deed total over $60,000. The demolition cost is another $80,000. If you win your lawsuit against Fallon, you instantly inherit $140,000 of toxic government debt. You are on a fixed income, Thatcher. The city will immediately garnish your retirement pension to pay for the demolition. They can garnish my pension? Thatcher whispers, the absolute horror of the situation suffocating him. Yes, I reply. If you sue her, you bankrupt yourself permanently. Your only option is to let the city foreclose on the property entirely. You have to walk away and let the golden child take the fall. I disconnect the call. Thatcher is trapped. He cannot save the house, and he cannot save himself. The family is entirely broken. But Fallon is not going to quietly accept her ruin. She is going to try one last, desperate scheme to escape the financial grave she dug for herself. Monday morning arrives. I am sitting at my sleek glass desk at the healthcare asset firm. The chaotic weekend of my father's desperate phone call is completely behind me. I am focused, calm, and entirely in control of my empire. Fallon knows the city is preparing to foreclose on the toxic, mold-infested house. She knows the massive municipal fines attached to her name are pushing her toward absolute bankruptcy. Since Thatcher realized suing her would only bankrupt him, Fallon realized she was entirely on her own. She had one last, desperate card to play. She decided to use the only weapon she has left, fraud. At exactly 10:30 a.m., my computer chimes. It is an automated alert from the county recorder's office. Because my name is registered in the municipal database from the years I paid my parents' bills, I receive notifications for any legal filings associated with my profile. I click the email. A high-resolution PDF document opens on my glowing screen. It is a formally filed quitclaim deed. I read the document, my eyes scanning the legal jargon with cold precision. According to this paperwork, filed just before the courthouse closed on Friday, Fallon voluntarily transferred 100% of the condemned property's ownership to me. I scroll down to the bottom of the page. There is Fallon's signature. Next to it is my signature, completely forged, alongside a fake notary stamp. Fallon thought she was a genius. She thought she could forge a single paper, transfer the biohazard house into my name, and instantly dump the municipal liens and demolition fees onto my corporate salary. She assumed the city would stop coming after her and garnish my wages instead. In real estate law, a quitclaim deed is a legal instrument used to quickly transfer property ownership between family members without a traditional sale. However, filing a quitclaim deed requires the verified notarized signatures of both the grantor and the grantee. Forging a grantee's signature and utilizing a counterfeit notary stamp to forcibly transfer a condemned, debt-ridden property is legally classified as first-degree forgery and real estate title fraud. It is a severe state felony. When the victim files an affidavit of forgery, the deed is instantly invalidated, and the grantor is referred directly to the district attorney for criminal prosecution. I do not panic. I simply press a button on my desk phone and dial the firm's private legal counsel. I instruct them to draft a sworn affidavit of forgery. Then, I pick up my cell phone and call Fallon. She answers on the second ring. "Hello, Blythe," Fallon says. Her voice is dripping with absolute arrogance and a smug, victorious tone. "Did you check your mail today? Or did the county already send you a digital notice?" "I am looking at a PDF of a quitclaim deed, Fallon," I reply, my voice perfectly flat and controlled. "I want her to speak. I want her to confess." "That's right," Fallon laughs, a sharp, cruel sound. "You are the proud new owner of the family estate. You told me that I was legally responsible for the house because my name was on the deed. Well, I fixed the problem. Your name is on the deed now. The house is yours, the toxic mold is yours, and the $60,000 in city fines are yours. You make a massive salary. You can afford to pay the city. You forged my signature, Fallon," I state calmly. "And you used a fake notary stamp. Prove it," she sneers, completely confident in her delusion. It is filed with the county courthouse. It is a legal document now. You can't just undo it. You are going to pay the city, and Mom and Dad are going to move into your luxury apartment until you fix the house. I win, Blythe. I finally beat you. You did not beat me, Fallon, I reply, my voice dropping into a dangerous, icy whisper. You just handed me the exact evidence I need to put you in a concrete cell. What are you talking about? She demands, her fake confidence suddenly faltering. I am talking about real estate title fraud, I explain smoothly. I am standing in my office with my corporate legal team. We are filing an affidavit of forgery with the county. The deed transfer is already voided. The debt is still entirely yours. The line goes dead silent. And Fallon, I add coldly. I also just forwarded the forged PDF to the district attorney's fraud division. The police are already on their way to your motel. The phone line is so quiet I can hear Fallon breathing heavily. Her arrogant laughter has completely vanished. The crushing reality of her massive mistake is finally sinking in. She thought she was playing a clever family trick. She did not realize she was committing a severe felony. You called the police? Fallon stammers, her voice shaking with pure, unfiltered terror. Blythe, tell them it was a joke. I was just kidding. You can't send me to jail. I am your sister. You are a criminal, I reply smoothly, my voice perfectly flat. You forged a legal document to steal my money. I do not have a sister anymore. I press the red button on my desk phone and disconnect the call. I sit back in my heavy leather chair, fold my hands on the glass desk and wait. Exactly 45 minutes later, my private cell phone rings. It is Thatcher. I tap the screen and put him on speakerphone. Blythe, Thatcher screams, the sound of blaring police sirens echoing loudly in the background. He is completely hysterical, crying like a broken man. Blythe, there are 2 police cruisers in the motel parking lot. They just put Fallon in handcuffs. They are pushing her into the back of a police car. I am aware, Thatcher, I state calmly. I sent them. She is crying. Cordelia is screaming at the officers. Thatcher yells, his voice cracking with absolute despair. They read her Miranda rights. They said she is being charged with first-degree forgery and title fraud. Blythe, why are you doing this to your own family? She is just a young girl who made a mistake. She is a 25-year-old adult who tried to dump $140,000 municipal debt onto my name. I correct him coldly. She forged my signature. And worse, she used a fake notary stamp. That is not a mistake. That is a calculated criminal attack. In the criminal justice system, forging a property deed is a serious offense, but forging a state-issued notary public stamp elevates the crime to a severe felony. A notary stamp is an official government seal. Counterfeiting it is legally equivalent to forging government documents. When the district attorney reviews a case involving a fake notary seal on a quitclaim deed, they will absolutely refuse to offer a lenient plea deal. The suspect is immediately classified as a high-risk fraudster, and the prosecution will seek mandatory prison time. Through the phone I can hear my mother, Cordelia, sobbing wildly in the dirty motel parking lot as the police cruisers drive away with her golden child. Give me the phone, Cordelia screams in the background. There is a rustling sound, and then my mother's voice comes through the speaker. She sounds completely unhinged. Blythe, you evil, selfish girl, Cordelia wails. You have ruined this family. You took away our health insurance, you let our house rot, and now you have sent my beautiful Fallon to jail. You have to fix this. Call the police and drop the charges right now. I cannot drop the charges, Cordelia, I explain smoothly, enjoying the absolute power I hold over her toxic delusion. The state prosecutor is handling her case now. She forged a government seal. The crime is against the state. Then you have to pay her bail. Cordelia shrieks, banging her fist against something metal. She cannot stay in a dirty county jail. She is too fragile. I need $10,000 right now to pay the bail bondsman. You gave Fallon a $650,000 estate, I remind her, my voice dropping into a dangerous, icy whisper. Use the estate to pay her bail. The house is condemned, Cordelia cries helplessly. We have nothing. We are living in a motel. I missed 3 of my arthritis treatments. We are completely bankrupt. Then it sounds like Fallon will be staying in jail until her trial, I say factually. You have to help us, she begs, finally breaking down into pathetic, ugly sobs. You have all the money. You are the only one left. I am the selfish daughter who expects nothing, Cordelia, I remind her, repeating the exact words she used at the attorney's office. Remember? I disconnect the call. The financial and legal destruction is complete. The golden child is locked in a cage. But there is one final piece of business left regarding the toxic family estate. 2 months pass. The scorching summer heat finally breaks, yielding to a crisp, cool autumn. My life is perfectly peaceful. The heavy, suffocating weight of my toxic family is permanently gone. I am sitting in my corner office on the 40th floor, reviewing a quarterly profit report for the healthcare asset firm. Everything in my world is organized and precise. My parents' world, however, is completely destroyed. Without my money to bail her out, Fallon spent the last 60 days sitting in a concrete holding cell at the county correctional facility. Because she forged a government notary stamp, the state prosecutor refused to offer her probation. Yesterday, she stood in a courtroom, cried hysterically, and pleaded guilty to felony forgery. The judge sentenced her to 3 years in a state minimum security prison. The golden child is officially a convicted felon. Thatcher and Cordelia have completely hit absolute rock bottom. With Fallon in prison, they have no one to blame and no one to exploit. They are still living in the cheap, dirty roadside motel. Cordelia's arthritis has severely worsened without her expensive infusions, and Thatcher is entirely broke from paying for his heart medication in cash. But the final consequence of their arrogance is happening today. At exactly 1 p.m., I log into the municipal real estate auction portal on my computer. I pour myself a fresh cup of coffee and watch the screen. In municipal real estate law, when a condemned property accumulates massive daily fines for health and safety violations, and the legal owner completely defaults on the debt, the city will initiate a tax and lien foreclosure. The city legally strips the deed from the owner, erasing all their equity, and seizes the property. The city then schedules a public auction to sell the asset to the highest bidder to recover the municipal debts. The original owner receives absolutely nothing from the sale. The county seized the toxic, mold-infested family estate from Fallon's name 3 weeks ago. Today is the public auction. The bidding starts at $60,000, the exact amount of the unpaid municipal liens. Because the house is a condemned biohazard, traditional families and mortgage buyers cannot bid. The only people watching the portal are predatory cash investors. The bidding is slow and incredibly cheap. I watch as the price slowly climbs. $65,000, $70,000. At $75,000, the bidding completely stops. No investor is willing to pay more for a toxic pile of rotting wood and mold. The auctioneer's digital timer counts down. 3, 2, 1. The screen flashes. Sold. The grand, $650,000 estate, the asset my parents used to completely disinherit me and ruin their own lives, has just been sold to a faceless corporate developer for $75,000. Fallon's legal name is permanently wiped from the county records. The new developer will bulldoze the house within a week. The physical symbol of my parents' arrogance will be completely erased from the earth. My office phone rings. It is Thatcher. I decide to answer one final time. I press the speaker button. "Blythe," Thatcher whispers. His voice is so weak, so entirely defeated that I barely recognize it. The motel manager just knocked on our door. We cannot afford to pay for another week. They are evicting us at 3 p.m. I do not reply. I just listen. I checked the county website, Thatcher continues, his voice breaking. I saw the auction results. The house sold for $75,000. All of our equity, our entire life savings, it is completely gone. Yes, it is, Thatcher. I state factually. We are homeless, Blythe. He sobs, finally surrendering to the absolute truth. Cordelia is so sick. I am out of medication. We have nowhere to go. Please, I am begging you. I know we made a terrible mistake. I know we should never have given the house to Fallon. Please, just wire me $500 so we can stay in the motel for 1 more week. I cannot do that, Thatcher. I reply smoothly. Because 7 years ago I started paying your bills, and you expected it. You treated my money as your right, and you treated me as your servant. I am sorry, Thatcher cries. I am so sorry. Apologies do not rebuild condemned houses, and they do not erase felony convictions, I say coldly. You and Cordelia made your choice in the attorney's office. You chose Fallon. Now you have to live with the consequences of that choice. I press the red button. I disconnect the call. I block his number permanently. There will be no more phone calls. There will be no more drama. The financial pipeline is sealed forever. 1 year later, the crisp autumn air has returned, painting the city in vibrant shades of gold and amber. I am sitting at my massive glass desk on the top floor of Vanguard Healthcare Assets. I have just been promoted to executive vice president. My investment portfolios have tripled since I stopped funding my parents' lavish, uninsured lifestyle. My life is entirely my own. I take a sip of my hot black coffee and look out the massive window at the sprawling city. The toxic illusion of my family is completely dead. Fallon is currently serving her 3rd year in a state minimum security prison for first-degree forgery. She lost her social media accounts, her designer clothes, and her golden child status. She spends her days working in the prison laundry room, earning a few cents an hour. Without a house, without insurance, and without my financial support, Thatcher and Cordelia were forced into the brutal reality of poverty. They had to rely on the state. My private investigator confirmed that they are now living in a tiny, cramped unit inside a low-income senior housing facility on the far edge of the city. Cordelia receives her basic medical treatments through a crowded, underfunded public health clinic, waiting hours in line instead of relaxing in a luxury private suite. Thatcher relies entirely on generic heart medications subsidized by the state. They have nothing left to brag about. They have no country club friends. They only have each other, and the miserable reality of the choices they made. My desk phone rings softly. It is my executive assistant, Merritt. "Blythe," Merritt says professionally. "There is a floral delivery at the front desk for you. It does not have a return address." "Have security scan it and bring it up," I reply smoothly. 10 minutes later, Merritt walks into my office carrying a small, cheap bouquet of wilted grocery store flowers. She places them on my desk along with a small, handwritten card. I open the envelope. The handwriting is shaky and desperate. It is from Thatcher. "Blythe, today is your 30th birthday. Your mother and I miss you terribly. We have lost everything. Please, just call us. We want our daughter back." I stare at the card for a long moment. I do not feel anger. I do not feel sadness. I feel absolutely nothing. They do not want their daughter back. They want their ATM back. They want the safety net that they arrogantly threw away when they thought the golden child could provide for them. I pick up the wilted flowers and drop them directly into the stainless steel trash can next to my desk. I tear the card in half and drop it in right after them. My parents looked at me in that attorney's office and told me I was selfish. They told me I didn't need their help. They were absolutely right. I didn't need them. I survived. I built an empire. And I will never ever let them back inside. And that is the end of Blythe's incredible revenge story. Did she go too far by letting her parents become homeless and her sister go to prison? Or did her toxic family get exactly what they deserved for giving the golden child everything and leaving Blythe with nothing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Share this with anyone who funds their family in secret. Tell me below what you'd have done when they candid your inheritance. Subscribe and I will see you soon.